cell tore through Vincent and surrounding areas early this morning. At least 60 homes were damaged, 25 lost their roofs and 8,000 homes were left without power. 9 people were injured. Many shocked residents have described the tempest as worse than Cyclone Yasi. Melissa Mallett begins our coverage.
This was ground zero from the air. It's believed the freak storm cell touched down over the airport and intensified as it barrelled towards Vincent just before 5 a.m. These were some of the very first images captured after the event by our cameraman Michael Drogamalla, who lives in the suburb. This, one of the very first reactions.
I was lying in bed and waked to what I thought was a 747. I thought it was actually crashing, it was that close. And I looked out the window and the palm trees were bent right over, nearly touching the ground. And then all of a sudden the roof started to go. It was just incredible.
By daylight, the devastation was too much for some.
This is a miracle that we are still alive. Indeed, it is a miracle.
This woman's pain was echoed through the streets.
I thought to myself, is it real?
How terrifying was it?
Not good for you.
Hard to wake up to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Residents wandered, stunned, home after home in tatters, roofs torn off.
The major damage is in Louis Clements and Simons. Yeah.
Roofing iron was tangled high in power lines. Poles speared through cars, some buried under debris.
What did you think when you woke up this morning? I didn't know. I thought bloody somebody had bombed us. Didn't know what happened.
No matter where you looked, the destruction was overwhelming.
Can't even put it in words.
What can you say, you know? Tornado of some description, huh? But yeah, I don't know, it's just disaster area at the moment.
It's crazy. Haven't seen like this. Even Yasi, you know, slept through Yasi. This is crazy.
A lot of people waking up to disbelief this morning.
Well, now we know, you know, you feel what the Americans go through all the time now, you know, with those tornadoes.
It just happened so fast. Everyone spoke of an unforgettable green flash of lightning.
Probably started about 5:15. By 5:25, it was finished.
We've been expecting a lot of rain, not necessarily a lot of wind or a storm situation that's presented itself this morning.
It was hardly 3 minutes. No, less than that. And you're just thinking all the time, what's this? What do I do? What's the next move? And you just can't add up anything.
This is where the father huddled his family and prayed they'd survive.
We don't know how it didn't collapse on us when every other part of the house is gone.
The rescue choppers spent the day assessing the damage from the air. Police shut down the neighbourhood until early this afternoon. Downed power lines, far too dangerous.
Basically, all this area is closed off.
The SES went door to door.
No, mate, no, we're good.
Ma'am, you'll need to get inside, please.
9 people were injured, 2 were taken to hospital, but authorities are amazed nobody was killed. It might have only taken a matter of minutes for their lives to truly be ripped apart. But putting them back together and moving on from this will take much, much longer.
The lives of these people are going to be reconstructed over a long period of time, I think.
I'm the man in the house, and if I fall, everybody else falls.
Melissa Mallett, 7 News.
Thanks very much, Melissa. Well, remarkable stories of courage and survival are emerging from the devastated suburbs. Many families don't know how they avoided injury as ferocious winds flattened homes. Tonight, an evacuation centre has been set up at the Heatley Community Centre for those who are left homeless.
Vincent families took shelter as debris pierced their walls.
Our first reaction was, oh, come on, let's get into the bathroom, duck for cover, and you could hear the windows popping around you.
Colin Myville's wife took their 3 young children to a bedroom as winds tore off their roof.
I think it's over behind us.
Signage and debris was dumped in their backyard.
Definitely worse than Yasi. Just, I think, the sheer factor is it hit and disappeared so quickly.
He fears that they wouldn't have survived if the freak storm had hit when people were up and about.
There may be a couple of lives if it will happen later on in the day.
Hundreds of metres away, the destruction continued. Here, a home stands with minor damage. The house next door, all but gone.
I was hoping for the best, but didn't get my wish. Because what is left is just drenched.
This was a bedroom. 2 people were sleeping upstairs when the storm cell hit. Now there's no roof. Walls have been obliterated. Main Lun's 72-year-old mother was at home with his younger brother, who has a mental disability. The elderly woman stumbled through the dark to a neighbour to raise the alarm.
There's no power, so there's no phones.
Every room is devastated, the bath full of debris. A television lies in a pile of rubble. And here in what was an office, a clock lies frozen at the exact moment the storm hit.
Expected a few sheets of iron off maybe, you know, but not the entire thing. Like everything.
It's been the family home for 48 years.
This place what my father built for us when we were kids. It's all my memories from when I grew up with my dad and with my mum and my other brothers and that, so yeah, it's yeah.
Amelia Brace, 7 News.
And 7 Local News meteorologist Livio Regano has been monitoring the extreme weather affecting the north, and there's no respite yet as the system slowly moves down the coast.
Thanks. Well, just to clarify, the monsoon refers to a seasonal northwest wind that blows across the equator into northern Australia each summer. The monsoon trough is where these winds collide into the prevailing southeasterlies. Now, the collision zone is a breeding ground for heavy rain and can also be a region of great turmoil. Its passage across Townsville this morning produced storm gusts strong enough to be consistent with a tornado. This, of course, will be difficult to confirm until the Bureau studies the full damage report, but it's a reminder that tornadoes do occur in Australia, even though the frequency's a lot lower than across the mid-western states of America, for example. Right now, the whole of tropical Queensland's being affected by the monsoonal rain, but it's the deep low pressure centre out west along the Flinders Highway that holds the key to this week's forecast. The low's moving on a course to reach the Darling Downs by Friday, so rain should start to ease from the north by Thursday as the heavier falls slowly migrate towards the southeast coast. Further strong gusts are possible too. More details at 6:25. Don't go away.
There were fears during the day that a teenager had been swept away in floodwaters at the Bowley. Swiftwater rescue crews were called in after residents heard screams.
The Emergency Management Queensland chopper was diverted from the disaster scenes in Vincent when the alarm was raised at Kalinda Chase just after lunchtime.
I was sitting out in the backyard and I heard a woman screaming, and it was a scream of terror.
We heard some screams over the TV, so we put it on mute, and yeah, we didn't think anything of it, though. We just thought it was some kids mucking around.
But then the screaming died down and then all of a sudden it stopped.
But police and rescuers took no chances. Officers door-knocked the area to see if anyone had been reported missing. There was initial concern for a mother and her child.
Yeah, we heard the little girl was missing and the mother was missing, so we don't really know.
The chopper scoured the area as locals joined the search.
Just stood by the water, see if we could see anything, but yeah, we couldn't see anything.
Police called off the search just after 2 o'clock. The source of the screams remains a mystery, but police are warning everyone to stay well clear of floodwaters with more rain forecast. Melissa Mallet, 7 News.
This morning's disaster came after days of torrential rain in North Queensland. Overnight, drivers became stranded as flash flooding cut many roads and caused landslips.
Townsville's CBD was a ghost town as residents prepared for another night of heavy falls. By 10 p.m, the water had crept up, engulfing roads in Kurrajong. A whopping 366 millimetres fell on Paluma, 240 in Ingham, 217 on the Cardwell Range, while Garoo and Townsville copped more than 100 mils each. Some residents still braved the elements despite the potential dangers. Palmerston Street was one of the first main roads to go under. In Fairfield Waters, the local road network resembled a series of canals. Annandale was no better. Half of this street became a raging torrent. This roundabout was no match for the pounding rain included, cutting access to Lakeside Drive and Air. Trucks and cars tried their luck in surrounding areas. Drivers ignored the warning signs in Unoomba, some nearly coming to grief. Eventually, authorities became fed up with the thrill seekers. A severe weather warning remains current for all coastal waters and streams from Cairns to Bowen. There are flood warnings for the Bowley, the Horton River at Garoo and the Herbert, Burdekin and Don riverways. Council's opened the floodgates at the Ross Dam and says they'll stay open until the skies clear. Amelia Brace, 7 News.